I came home and found my crops crushed across dozens of rows. Heavy construction vehicles had driven straight through my field. I documented every tire track and every damaged plant. Then I sent the damage claim directly to the HOA. Karen barely looked at my evidence before laughing. She said my crops were worth far less than I claimed. Then she told me the construction project was more important. That's when I realized the HOA wasn't planning to pay me anything. Behind their excuses was a massive luxury development. The project was reportedly worth $15 million. They needed a road crossing near the edge of my property to keep construction moving. And suddenly, my damaged crops made a lot more sense. I pulled out my original deed and property survey. The road they were using crossed land that belonged to me. There was no easement granting them unlimited construction access. That discovery changed everything. The survey confirmed the road crossed my private property. For years, the HOA had treated it like their personal construction route. Now I knew exactly where my property began and ended, and I knew they couldn't simply assume they owned the road. I stopped the construction manager and showed him the survey. He admitted the project depended on that access road. I told him they needed written permission before crossing my property. He immediately called the HOA President. Karen arrived minutes later, furious that I had stopped the trucks. She insisted the HOA had always used that road. I told her past use didn't change the property records. She responded by threatening to take me to court. Karen told me I couldn't block a $15 million project. I reminded her that the size of their budget didn't change my deed. She demanded that I unlock the gate immediately. I simply asked her to show me their legal access agreement. Karen called the sheriff, expecting him to force me to open the road. Sheriff Hayes arrived and listened to both sides. I handed him the certified survey and my deed. Then he walked over to inspect the property boundary himself. Sheriff Hayes followed the survey markers all the way to the road. He confirmed the disputed access route crossed my private property. Karen's expression changed the moment he finished his inspection, and behind her, $15 million worth of construction suddenly had nowhere to go. The next morning, their entire construction crew arrived at my lock gate. The HOA president demanded that I move it immediately. I calmly told her the road crossed land she had no right to use. For the first time, she realized this fight was far from over. That night, I went through every document I had saved over the years. The original survey showed exactly where my property ended. Their construction road crossed directly through my private acreage. I finally had the proof I needed to stop them. I took the original records straight to the county office. A lawyer reviewed everything and immediately saw the problem. Their project depended on access across my property. Without my permission, millions of dollars were suddenly at risk. By noon, Karen was back with the entire construction crew behind her. This time, she brought a county deputy to pressure me. I handed the deputy my certified property records without saying a word. He studied them carefully before turning toward the HOA president. The deputy compared the county map with my documents. Then he looked at the road they had built across my land. His expression changed almost immediately. He told Karen they needed legal authorization before using that road. Karen immediately called the HOA attorney for help. She insisted that I had somehow blocked a public road. But the attorney knew the documents were going to be a problem. The project had been built around an assumption that was never legally confirmed. The county called a meeting to determine who actually controlled the access road. Karen arrived expecting the officials to support the HOA. Instead, they spread the original survey across the table. That was when the entire room became completely silent. The survey clearly showed that the disputed road crossed my private land. Karen had no recorded easement giving her HOA access. Her entire argument depended on a document that did not exist. And the $15 million project suddenly had nowhere to legally go. By sunset, every truck on their side of the gate had stopped moving. The county would not authorize construction through my property. Karen stood there watching her multi-million-dollar project grind to a halt. I had never threatened her project. I had simply protected my land. The HOA had mocked my claim and assumed I would surrender. Instead, their own records proved they had built on the wrong land. Their $15 million project was now frozen until they could find a lawful solution. And for once, the boundary lines meant exactly what they said.